would now like to explain in another way why, specifically why x divided by 0 is undefined, why any number but 0 divided by 0 is undefined. I'd like to explain that. To do this, I'd like to go through a few pictures that I took while filming this previous set of videos about dividing 12 by smaller and smaller numbers. Hopefully that set of videos is in the description of this video. When I divided 12 by 4, I got 3. When I divided it by 3, I got 4. When I divided it by 2, I got 6. When I divided it by 1, I got 12. When I divided it by 1/2, I got 24. When I divided it by 1/3, I got 36. When I divided it by 1/4, I got 48. Going from the positive side, as I get closer and closer to dividing by 0, as I get closer and closer to that, my answer becomes closer and closer to positive infinity. So this is yet another reason why 12 divided by 0 is undefined, or why a positive number divided by 0 is undefined. So here is a table of 12 divided by n where n is positive. But what about if n is negative? What happens then? Well, here is a table for some values of negative n, like -4, -3, -2, -1, -1/2, -1/3, and -1/4. We can just plug them into the expression of 12 divided by n. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, in a previous set of videos called Multiplying and Dividing Positive Negative Numbers, hopefully the link for that previous set of videos is in the description of this video. But anyway, for that previous set of videos, I explained that positive divided by negative is negative. What that means in this case is that if you have a negative sign in the denominator, you can move it out to the beginning of the fraction. So it's basically saying negative of the fraction. Now, for each part of the answer of 12 divided by n in the bottom table, for the part that is not with the negative sign, I can simplify using the top table. For example, 12 divided by 4, I can use the top table to know that is 3. For 12 divided by 4, I can use the top table to know that is 48. And so we can just simplify it like that. Here is a graph of 12 divided by n. Here is n. On the left side, we have it when n is equal to -4, and on the right side, we have it when n is equal to 4. Basically, this means if you were to graph this on the graphing calculator, the window goes from -4 to 4. Here we have 12 divided by n. Where are marked with a pink 0, that is where n is equal to 0. And so what we're most interested in is what is happening when n is equal to 0. What does the graph do? And as you can see, there's an asymptote here. What that means is that from the right side, it goes closer and closer to positive infinity. From the right side, as n gets closer and closer to 0, 12 divided by n gets closer and closer to positive infinity. And from the left side, when n gets closer and closer to 0, 12 divided by n gets closer and closer to negative infinity. Now, the asymptote could have happened if both of them were going up to positive infinity or both of them going down to negative infinity. But as it works out, 12 divided by n, you have the left side going towards negative infinity and the right side going towards positive infinity. So for right now, I've been trying to explain in another way why x divided by 0 is undefined, and in this case, x is any real number but 0. So that means it's either positive or negative. And we already talked about when it is positive. We use the example of 12 divided by 0. But what about when it's negative? What would negative 12 divided by 0 would be? What would that be? Let's now talk about negative 12 divided by n, where n is positive. So here is a table, and we have n's of +4, +3, +2, and so on. And we're trying to find negative 12 over n. So let's plug them into that expression. In a previous set of videos, I explained that negative divided by positive is negative. That previous set of videos is called Multiplying and Dividing Positive and Negative Numbers, and hopefully the link for that previous set of videos is in the description of this video. Anyway, what that means for this case is that if you have a negative sign in the numerator, you can move it to the left of the fraction. And now we can simplify each fraction. Now let's talk about negative 12 divided by n, where n is negative. So now we have negative 4, negative 3, and so on. We still have the same expression to plug them into, the same expression of negative 12 divided by n. So let's plug them into that. Now in the previous set of videos about multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers, I explained that negative divided by negative is positive. So that means that a negative sign in the numerator and negative sign in the denominator, they cancel out. And now we can simplify these fractions. Here is a graph of negative 12 divided by n. Here is n. On the left-hand side, we have it when n is negative 4. And on the right-hand side, we have it when n is 4. The window for this graphing calculator goes from negative 4 to 4. We are graphing negative 12 divided by n. Here that I marked with a pink 0, that is where n is 0. There is an asymptote here. From the right-hand side, from where n is positive, negative 12 divided by n gets closer and closer to negative infinity as n gets closer and closer to 0. From the left-hand side, from where n is negative, negative 12 divided by n gets closer and closer to positive infinity as n gets closer and closer to 0. So this is one way to explain why negative 12 divided by 0 is undefined. X divided by 0, where x is any real number but 0. 12 divided by 0 is undefined. We could follow the same idea for any other positive number and have it over 0. Negative 12 divided by 0 is undefined. We could follow this pattern for any other negative number and have it over 0. In this set of videos, x is any real number excluding 0. A real number must be either positive, negative, or 0. So x is either positive or negative in this set of videos. Therefore, x divided by 0 is undefined. Thank you for watching this video. Here's a link to the playlist about some properties of 0 in which this video is a part of. Feel free to click on this link.